What's good, everybody? Welcome back to episode 4 of the No Pressure Podcast. Shout out to Charlotte. Shout out to East Charlotte 704. Man, this is a very special episode, y'all. It's a very special episode. But before we get into that, this is your co-host, Teej McCray. Got my brother with me, Miles Leathers, and our very, very special guest, our brother, Jay Curry. He got so many names, man. But, we're going to just introduce him as Jaye Hunt, man. Welcome to the show, big dog.
Appreciate you, man. I'm excited for the pod, man. These are my brothers, man. If y'all know these two, y'all know me. So I'm excited to be able to join. I've been tuned in to all the episodes. So excited to be the first guest, man. Let's pod, boys.
Man, let's do it, man. Hey, Miles, how you feeling, baby?
Good, man. We got Jesus, my dog, my brother. Definitely happy to have you on, bro. For those of y'all that don't know, like, our friendship has been locked in for forever, ever since we was born, ever since we was babies. So, it's a special guest for us, especially for the first special guest. So, definitely happy to have you on, bro. And, let's get to
it. So while we was, setting up and everything, making sure everything was good, I know y'all peeped my boy Jay with and I just realized the custom Duke Letterman jacket. I'm not a fan of Duke at all. Can't stand him, but that shit is tough. I can't even lie. That shit is tough. Hey, Jay, go ahead and show him what you got underneath the Duke Letterman, dog.
Come on, man.
Go ahead and show him what you got under the...
First and foremost, shout out to my sis, Jazz Robinson. She got this for me as a Christmas gift a couple years back, man. So it's crazy. I got to show y'all the back, too. I don't know if they'll be able to see it, but, it's
Oh.
That's tough.
Come on, man. The whole thing go crazy,
Hey, Jazz, I'm a Carolina.
She snapped with
UNC. Last name McCray. But go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
So she snapped with the jacket for sure. And in spirit of Duke being in the Final Four, I wanted to bring out, the exclusives for my boys. But just in case it get a little bit too hot, we can tone it down a little bit, man. So it is, the Letterman do get a little hot, you know what I'm saying? So I'll just get a little bit more comfortable. Now that we about to pod, I'll get more comfortable.
What you say, Booby?
Yes, sir. That's tough.
He about to commit, Booby.
Yeah, man. Man broke out the Letterman with the Duke shirt under it. Yeah, that's super hard. That's tough, bro.
Too, for real. I think. Go ahead, Coach.
Come on,
man. I mean, while we on the topic, Jay, just talk about what started your, just you liking Duke, you being a Duke fan, how did you kind of gravitate towards them?
Well, going back to what you said, Booby, Miles he was my first friend. Like we born a day apart, so I literally been with this man since I was born. One of my day ones. And I came into basketball late. So I started playing basketball probably around like 9 or 10 years old, organized basketball. I played it in the neighborhood, but organized I didn't start playing until a little later than most guys. But I didn't really have like a college basketball team or anything like that. My dad is a diehard Carolina fan. And so like growing up, my parents would dress me like my dad and be having me wear Carolina stuff or whatever the case may be. But I wasn't really a fan of anything. I didn't watch college basketball. But the origin story for me being a Duke fan, I was at Miles' crib. We were sitting in his living room watching Duke and Maryland play. This when Maryland was back in the ACC. Miles' dad is a huge Maryland fan. So the whole time we watching the game, Miles' dad cheering for Maryland, and Miles is being obnoxious and cheering for Duke. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to cheer for Duke too. So I'm cheering for Duke. I can't remember who won the game. I'm pretty sure Duke won the game because I remember us like continuing to talk trash to Miles' dad. I go home that night. I tell my parents like, yo, I'm a Duke fan. My dad looked at me like, no, the hell you not.
Crushed him.
He wasn't going.
He was not going.
Broke that man heart. Broke that man heart.
Man, he was not going. And so from that, me being rebellious, I'm like, well, I'm for damn sure a Duke fan now. And so I just wanted to have like some type of separation because me and my dad are very similar. But I wanted to like something different. Like I'm a competitive person. So when I saw how much he didn't want me to be a Carolina fan, I was like, well, let me really tap in with Duke. And then I continue to watch, continue to be tapped in with the fellas. This is around the time of DeMarcus Nelson, being at Duke and I became a fan. So ever since then, I've been a diehard Duke fan, man.
Sad day, Mr. Hunt, man. I still pray for you to this day, man. I still pray for you to this day. But hey, look, you got me. You might not have them, but you got me. You got me. I'm always in your corner. But nah, man. Shout out to them Duke boys, man. They represent the ACC, man. They made it to the Final Four. We'll tap into that a little bit later, man. But yeah, man, Jay, you was pretty much touching on, how you got into basketball late. You and Miles, correct me if I'm wrong, were y'all neighbors as well? Y'all were neighbors a little bit, right? Or no?
We live in like a big
Same
neighborhood.
Yeah,
like somewhat the same neighborhood. We live it was probably like a 7 or 8 minute drive from my parents' crib to his parents' crib.
Mm-hmm.
And then back in the day, we used to be outside all the time. So like we would walk through neighborhoods, play different people in basketball, football, whatever the case may be, just like being outside. So it was definitely within walking distance. Like I mean, it was a nice little walk, but you could cut through people's backyards, and like we knew the neighborhood well enough to be able to go to one another's house. So not necessarily neighbors like, can I come borrow some sugar type neighbors, but like we were close enough to where, we could definitely get to each other's house pretty quickly.
Man, I remember one time, bro, like I was over at Miles' crib. This was over the summer, and he was like, we're gonna walk to Jaye house. Yeah, we gonna walk to Jaye house, and I'm thinking, okay, bet. I'm thinking it's gonna be like a little walk. You know what I'm saying? Like next door neighbor type. Dog, we felt like we was walking forever, bro. Walking forever, but thank God we stayed for a little minute when we got there. I think we was hooping outside. I think that was around the first time I met like Griffin, your cousin Jay, other people in the neighborhood. We had hooped outside for a long time, bro. Like, and then me and Miles ended up just walking back, but neither here nor there. But Jay, man, walk us through your, again, that's you and Miles. You know what I'm saying? You meet him. You start playing basketball 9, 10 years old. Tell the people about, how, when I came into the picture and how that went.
Man. So for the viewers, man, if you know me and TJ now, TJ my right hand, my ace boom coon, like you can't tell me nothing about TJ, dog. Like I'll go to war behind that man for anything. That's my dog for life. But when we first met, I couldn't stand TJ, dog. I could not stand that nigga, man. Like, and it was simply because him and Miles were already cool. Like by the time I think we all started playing together age 11. It was either 11 or 12.
Somewhere around there, bro. I don't know the exact date, but somewhere around like that's middle school, 6th, 7th grade.
Yeah. So we all played on the Hill Bobcats together. Shout out to the Hill Bobcats, Coach Hill, Coach.
Yeah, shout out Hill Bobcats.
Coach Larry, Coach Gang, all the coaches that helped us along the way. But it was just like Miles my day one. I've known this man since I was born. For me and Miles, we went to the same daycare, preschool, elementary school, middle school, and high school. So we literally we did everything together. And so that was my guy coming on to this team. Coach Rick used to be Miles' neighbor, his direct next door neighbor. And so I started playing on their park and rec team. And TJ, again, had already had a relationship with Miles, but came over. And him and Miles had a pretty good relationship. And I'm like, yo, who is this nigga that's cool with my nigga? Like, nah, it's only one. It's only one of us, bro. But so it was me. Like, it didn't have nothing to do with TJ. I was hating on TJ for no reason.
Shit,
Like,
I thought we was good, bro. We was good.
I ain't talking, bro. Like, it for real was hate just because I was territorial back then. I was like, Miles, my best friend. He can't be best friends with nobody else. But if you know TJ, to know TJ is to love TJ and know that, like, man, TJ will give you the shirt off his back. He has a brilliant mind. So when it came to basketball, even at that young of an age, like, all of us are very competitive in a good way when it comes to basketball. We think the game of basketball. The way that Bron talks about, like, thinking the game of basketball, not just playing because you dumb athletic or like you super gifted. Like, we had skills, but we thought, I would say, 2 steps ahead for our age group when we were at that, that point in time. And so just playing with TJ, gaining a chemistry, and that Hill Bobcats team was really good. But gaining chemistry with him and getting to know TJ on the basketball court helped me to loosen up and get to know him off the basketball court. And then I would say probably throughout that year, I might have still been hating a little bit towards the end of the year. We definitely got cool. And then again, since then, like 12 going on, like, you can't tell me nothing about TJ McCray, dog. Like, that's my dog. So this for sure the trio.
And then, man, it's something that you actually reminded me of, like, years ago, but I didn't remember at the time. But Coach Rick had sat us down. You said because I guess he felt like, I don't know, we were both the captains and he needed us on the same page. So he had sat us down, being the coach that he is, and saw that, I guess he did something he needed to mediate. But the rest is history, man. That Hill Bobcats team was definitely one of the best of all time to come through Charlotte, in my opinion. Who am I to say? I think the record speaks for itself. Yeah, but that squad, that was a tough little squad, bro. And I think that's a testament. I think that coaches like, Coach Rick, Coach Hill, Larry, Coach Torrey, they brought that competitive nature into us. I remember, Rick bringing Larry into the picture because we were getting older and, they needed to beat us in practice. They needed to compete with us in practice because we was at the age now we was getting our swag and getting confident. Yeah. Here come this motherfucker Larry, bro. God damn, Larry, man, like at the time. So like Jay said, we probably 12, 13 at this point. And at the time, he's not this, but Larry, I would have thought he was a 6'9", 280-pound freight train. Like what Bron James is to the average man, that's what Larry was to us, bro. And he did not give a damn about us being kids. Bullying us. And he was left-handed too, bro. Like being a young dude guarding a left-handed brute at that age, man. Man, bro, what? I think I might have raised my voice to Larry one time. He said, "Who you talking to?" Man, God, hey, one of them shits right there. Like, man, who fuck on my bro, man? Like, what's up with this? What's up with this dude, bro? But it's people like Larry, and like I said, that just brought that dog out of all of us, man, bro. But I know y'all remember them days, man, when Larry first got introduced.
Oh, bro. Yeah, Larry, I would have thought, and bro, before I say this, like TJ said, like he is what LeBron is to the average man. Like Larry, he had it all. And I'm talking about get to the rim. If he get his shoulders past you, it's over. He could shoot. He had the left or right cross. Like, it was nothing that he couldn't do. And not to mention too, he could post you. Like, he was just a guy that had it all just in terms of offensive repertoire. So, shout out to Larry, man. Just being able to compete against him every day in practice, I feel like that made us all better for sure because he was a dog. He was a dog for sure.
For sure. Yeah, shout out Coach Larry, man.
And then Larry introduces his cousin Torrey, and Torrey was damn near better than Larry, bro. Like, bro, I don't know what. Different, man. And I remember he used to tell us about his small little stint at Maryland, at the University of Maryland, and his experiences there, bro. But like, he was just, I remember vividly one day after practice, man, he was just showing me like how to just create space from a triple threat, bro. Just like sticking your knee like in between the dude legs and like stretching out real quick, like just simple shit like that, bro. That like I mean, he just didn't have to do. But again, shout out to Coach Rick and Coach Hill building that foundation, man, and bringing these guys in and allowing us to be competitive and understanding what it takes to win and overcoming adversity. Because y'all know, just like I know, they used to cheat sometime, but anytime we complained, bro, it was like they weren't hearing none of that shit. Like it was, y'all gonna have to win, not even fair and square. Y'all gonna just have to. We winning by any means necessary. We don't give a damn about y'all feelings.
Yeah, and Coach Rick too. Coach Rick, he was another guy who, like, his skill set wasn't as diverse as Larry, but I mean, he was hard to guard too, especially in practice. He left-handed
and strong as shit.
Rim. He overpowering us. We 11, 12, 13. He was a monster too. So
and talking, bro, talking.
Yeah, he was gonna pop his shit,
bro.
He was definitely gonna pop his shit for sure. So that instilled that competitive motivation that we had, because we just wanted to beat them so bad, and shit, it was damn near impossible to beat them. That's just how good they was. But
honestly,
I feel like
even to that point, Miles, that's why we were so fucking good that year, because we would be so pissed off trying to beat them and hearing Coach Rick yell, "Get them off my court!
Get off my court!"
Hated that.
To this day, get off my court.
Every week, bro. We really
annoying. He was annoying.
Good. Like we're competing with them to where they, in the back of their mind, I know they knew that, like, yo, these little niggas can come get us. But then we was
beating everybody else by 60.
We playing the Monstars, and then we play kids our age group, and we killing them. Like, it was easy. But to your point, Miles, that competitive edge was definitely birthed within those runs. Like us playing against the adults and the dads, like other people's dads was coming out there trying to be on the adult team so they could beat us and talk shit to us. So yeah, good times, man.
Yeah, facts.
Man, good times for sure, bro. The last thing I want to touch on as it relates to us playing basketball is I'm gonna just go out on the record here and say that we probably had one of the best, including Dez, core fours to go through the Simmons YMCA on the east side, bro.
No, that's facts.
I'm just going. We used to run Simmons.
Yeah,
we used to run
that
Simmons.
Shit used to be fun, man. Them was the days, bro. Them was really the days, bro. Like for real. Leaving the dial, going to Simmons and just running in with whether it was the young niggas or what Marcus, bro. God damn, bro. That's another one that was a killer, bro. That's another one that was a killer, bro. But man, shout out to all the hoopers, that came across Simmons YMCA on the east side, bro. But I stamped that you can't find another core four that got as many wins as we did during that era of Simmons, bro. I don't care.
The chemistry was crazy, bro. And it was some good hoopers that came through there, bro. When we could get niggas together, we had some real good runs at Simmons Y, bro. It was some old heads that would come through there. It was kids our age, like high school players that would come through there that, they would get wins and they would get runs. Some people would invite their teammates and whatnot, but chemistry wise, and like you said, a core four, when you saw us on the court together, it was going to be a problem.
Yep.
And for those that don't know Dez, you've never seen a hooper like Dez, man. I promise you. I tell people this all the time. Our brother Dez hoops like Dirk Nowitzki from Dallas.
That's his
you
name.
Ain't never seen a 6'1". They call this man Dirk.
Legit.
For basketball fans, you know how unorthodox Dirk game is. If you ever seen a 6'1", 6'2" black man play like that, it would scare you. Because everything is the same, bro. The mannerisms, the shot, the ball movement.
CJ, what you got to understand is me and Dez was in the same kindergarten class. I don't know Dez for a long time. When I tell you Dez used to be at the gym, he would have the Dirk videos on while he's mimicking the moves, bro. And I'm just I never in my life met anyone whose favorite player was Dirk. Now I knew Miles' favorite player growing up was Steve Nash. So it wasn't even no black-white thing, but no kid from the East was Dirk is my favorite player. I didn't even give Dirk no credit until I met Dez. Dez made
None,
me
bro.
like. I will argue Dirk's greatness down to this day off the strength of Dez knows every game, how the shit ended, what Dirk did, what Dirk drank, what Dirk like everything, bro. Everything, bro. So like when it like he went to A&T, we went to UNCGJ. Correct me if I'm wrong. When Dirk came to the rec, his name was Dirk. He was Dez to us. He was Dirk to everybody else. He was Dirk to everybody else. And one thing about that man, any gym he walks into, he's gonna be respected.
Dirk.
He's gonna be respected.
Come on. Hey, Dez ahead of his time. He one of them players that with YouTube how it is now, if Dez would have came up in today's time where like you record everything, bro, he'd be a sensation, bro.
Yeah, he would have.
Nah, facts. Definitely. He would definitely would have been went viral.
Yeah, Dirk would have invited him out to like, bro, I gotta meet this kid.
Yeah.
Real talk, bro.
And the thing about it too, like the thing about it too, it worked for him because before he was playing like that, he was not that good. He started playing like dirt and all of a sudden got good.
Got amazing, bro.
Killing, bro.
But like literally shoot like him and everything, like changed his whole game to cater it to this man's skill set. At 6'2", $150. Like, bro, what? But hey, bro, Dirk one of them ones for real, bro. Any hooper in Charlotte knows that, so it's stamped. But to keep it on the basketball topic, man, Jay. For those that don't know, Jay hooped at East Meg and actually had the opportunity to hoop in Europe with the select team. So we're gonna let Jay tap into that story a little bit, and me and Miles will dive in where we see fit, man. But Jay, please share your experience of getting to hoop in Europe during your high school years.
Man, an experience of a lifetime. That definitely was one of the highlights of basketball for me. Really just a highlight in life for me in general. So my sophomore year, Charlotte was doing kind of like you said, like a select team. It was an academic all-stars basketball team is what they were calling it. So they were picking sophomores and juniors in Charlotte-Mecklenburg to represent this academic all-stars team. So you had to have a certain like GPA as well as like athletic performance like within your sport to make this team. And they did baseball the year before. So they started out with baseball, tried it out with baseball, went overseas. And the team that they assembled in Charlotte, that baseball team won gold. So they were like, we want to try to do the same thing with basketball. So they did it the following year with basketball. So it was a couple guys. It was a girls and guys team. So a couple guys from East Meg. Me and my brother Matt Ward went from East Meg. A couple guys from Butler. A couple guys from Charlotte Christian. I think it was 3 guys from Charlotte Christian that went. A guy from Vance. Like they picked a couple different players from different schools. Audrey Kell. We had a guy from Audrey Kell on the team. And then the girls team, same thing. Like, they had players from private school and public school, Independence, Providence Day, shout out to Tiff, Essence Balcom, Philip Berry, Olivia Parker. Like they had a number of different players. Jamie Fisher Davis, as she's known in Charlotte, but one of my best friends, Jamie Dawson now. Aaliyah Kilpatrick, like they had Sierra Burdick, who's Butler great, a Tennessee great, and now an Olympian, a U.S. Olympian.
Gold medalist,
so
right?
The boys, huh?
Then she won the gold medal with the 3-on-3, Sierra Burdick.
I think they just won bronze in this past Olympics. I think they won bronze.
No, yeah, I mean previously. I'm almost certain she did win a gold medal. Yeah, but go ahead.
I know with like FIBA, she's medaled with FIBA doing the 3-on-3 joint. She was like Gatorade National Player of the Year. I believe either for NC or all of like the nation. So shout out to Sierra, but it was an experience of a lifetime, man. We went in April. And the cool thing about going on that trip was it was during the week of my 16th birthday. So not only did I have to get a passport, travel to France, and get the experience of, we went to Paris for the first 3 days, and we got to like sightsee, travel around Paris. We went to the Eiffel Tower. We did some of the touristy things there in Paris, but then we had the basketball tournament in Limoges, France. So we took a train, went to Limoges, and we did the basketball tournament there for like 3 days. We went undefeated in the basketball tournament, played in the championship game. We beat everybody by like 30, 40. Like it was, the talent level was definitely a difference to where, and to be honest, guys, I wasn't shit on the team. Like I was one of the last men getting off the bench on the team, but just to have that experience, the championship game, after we get done playing, like the crowd rushes the court and they're asking us for our jerseys. Like we're taking off our playing jerseys, signing them, and like giving them to like fans that are in the crowd. And these are locals that are like in Limoges, France.
So Jay, as a 16-year-old, Jay, like what's going through your head as that's happening? Like, I can only imagine that's a surreal moment. So like you're a 16-year-old, you just finished the game and you you got locals running up to you, a 16-year-old kid from the East Side. Like what's going on through your head in that moment?
Yeah. Man, to be honest, that moment was very special for me for 2 reasons. One, like you said, kid from East Charlotte, I didn't have no plans of going to Paris or going to Limoges, France, or playing basketball overseas at that point in my life. Like I just played it because I enjoyed it. Like it was fun to play basketball with my boys. And then at East Meck, like when me and Miles got to East Meck, they won the state championship the year before. So like we were trying to make names for ourselves and recreate that. And so just the experience of playing overseas was amazing to me. But the thing that was even cooler for me was my dad was a chaperone. And so I just remember after the championship game, like embracing my dad, like being able to enjoy that type of experience with him. And, he was a volunteer chaperone. If y'all know my dad, he whistles real loud. He talk real loud. So he coaching from the sidelines. You're going to hear him and you're going to know when Jeff Hunt in the building. But to be able to experience that with him, man, like those were my key takeaways, was just being grateful for that experience. And then it gave me a little hunger going into my junior and senior year at East Meck. Like I deserve to like play basketball at a high level and like really contribute to my team. It gave me a certain confidence and a certain swagger that I could walk with, and just knowing who I was as a basketball player, being able to play along that level of talent. Like damn near everybody on the team went D1, excluding myself. But there was a lot of kids on that team that played Division I, Division II college basketball. And then even some guys that ended up going overseas. So playing with that level of talent and the fact that I was able to like practice and play with these guys definitely gave me a certain level of confidence.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you too. You highlighted some of the girls. You mentioned Essence, Sierra. You just mentioned a lot of killers on the girl side. Talk about some of the guys who were very, really talented that went on that trip with you.
Yeah, for sure. We had Ant Stitt, who played at College of Charleston. We had Zach Ferguson, who was one of our sworn rivals, playing at Butler. But shout out to Zach, my guy. Who, if I'm not mistaken, Miles, I think Zach played football and basketball in college, or maybe just football. But just
I think he ended up going to Lenore Ryan.
Lenore Ryan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Super talented athlete. We had Anthony Gill went on to play at Virginia, and then also spent some time in the NBA. Anthony Gill was crazy. Like, I think it was like 6'9", 6'10", but his athleticism and what he was able to do, like I hadn't seen that personally myself, from a basketball player. And he played at Charlotte Christian at the time. So Ant was just like, that dude was special, at that point in time. We had Reggie Arsenault, who I believe he played at Olympic, but a lefty, super quick, shifty, like, bro was nasty. Like we had some dogs on that team. we had another dude. His name is Worth. Worth played at Navy in college, like cold, like tall, probably like 6'5", 6'6", but was just super athletic, very knowledgeable about the game, very smart dude. So, and then I went over there with my brother Matt Ward, who played basketball with Miles at Brevard. And so, just off the top of my head, those are some of the guys that I remember that definitely stood out while we were over there. But it was a pleasure playing with all of those guys, and then seeing the girls. The girls, like, again, they got Division I stars, top to bottom, WNBA players, Olympians. Like, they had all of that on their team. So shout out to the girls too, because they went undefeated and won gold as well.
That's cool. Matter of fact, before we move on, talk about the practices, because I know you mentioned how the games wasn't as competitive just because the talent was it was a big talent gap. So talk about the practices and how those used to go. Y'all battling against each other.
Yeah. The practices were intense. Like they demanded a level of excellence from us, during those practices, to where when we were stateside, we used to practice at East Meck. So that was our gym. If you know anything about East Meck and Jason Grube, like Coach Grube would hold a certain level of excellence and expectation within his practices. And he was an assistant, so he carried some of that over, but Jamie's dad was one of like the top assistants on the team, and he got that like drill sergeant, military like type background and demeanor about himself. So he was very strict, like, very vocal in terms of like what he wanted us to do and how hard we were expected to practice and play. And again, you playing against these high level guys who are used to playing at that level. When I grew up, I didn't play AAU. I just played with my friends in my neighborhood. I played with the boys at the Y, and then I played park and rec and high school basketball. But I wasn't necessarily accustomed to that level of competitiveness just from those guys. So, and being able to do that, like, it definitely was, it made you better. It made me a lot better. And I was going from where I was playing JV and varsity throughout 10th grade, and I was playing the post in JV, but I was playing the two guard on varsity because of my size. So I had to develop a skill set that I didn't necessarily have. And so I really didn't develop a jump shot until I would say that France trip, and then going into my junior and senior year of high school, I was able to expound on that. But yeah, man, the level of competition was, it was at a high rate and a high level every single day, to where when we got overseas, like it was easy.
Man, that's a good experience, bro. I'm glad. I remember at the time being happy that you got to experience that, bro. I felt like I was on a trip with you, bro. So appreciate you sharing that story, man. And I mean, something that hit home, that's just important, especially I feel like for the high school kids these days, is like, grades do matter. And sometimes, you work hard. You are afforded some of those opportunities like Jay got, to go to Europe, man. So, just lock in as much as you can in them books, to all the young hoopers out there. So Jay, I know for those that don't know, Jay and I graduated both from UNCG. He started off at Pembroke, then transferred over after one of his G Hill experiences. But that's neither here nor there. But he came over, and we eventually, became roommates and whatnot. And shortly after graduation, we spent a little bit of time in corporate America. So Jay, I kind of wanted to touch on that. Being a black man, working in corporate America. What that was like for you, how you got into it, what that was like for you, some of the experiences within that, and how those years help, shape you into, the man that you are today, man. I'll let you have the floor.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Teej, getting me my first corporate job, man. The corporate world teaches you that it's all about who you know. Like, at the end of the day, if somebody can vouch for you and they can speak to your character and your work ethic, that takes you a long way. And so getting that first job at TekSystems, I came in, green, as they like to say, like not really knowing too much about the corporate world, just knowing that I had a certain level of professionalism, and, shout out to my parents for raising me the way that they did and holding a certain expectation of me and my mannerisms and how I carry myself that allowed me to get the job. But man, the corporate world just it teaches you so much about the world that you're not exposed to. So I feel like college was similar to that. College teaches you a lot about the world that you're not exposed to, but it's really you discovering yourself, figuring yourself out to where you're making decisions for yourself. And that's really like the first time you're able to do that. But being in the corporate world, I feel like you start to understand and get to know people differently. Like everybody raised different, come from different backgrounds, we think differently, and you have to be accepting of all of those things. So to be honest, the biggest things that the corporate world taught me were perspective being number one. I would say that I was very confident, but slightly more on the arrogant side coming into like the corporate world. I did think very narrow minded and like my way was the best way or whatever the case may be. But when you learn from other people, like their perspectives, the way that they handle business, the way that they conduct themselves, the way that you should handle business, being in the corporate world, and then code switching. I didn't know what code switching was before, coming into the corporate world. But that's something that's very relevant, and like just being able to walk into different rooms and talk to people and be relatable to people. Like, I would say those are like the main things that I learned while crossing over into the corporate world, and like still being me and having my personality, but being able to button it up in a certain way that was still professional.
Mm-hmm. Jay, what is, to the viewers, explain what TekSystems was, what your role entailed, and again, what led to you having that confidence, and set the room for the listeners in a sense, because I know you touched on code switching, which is very big, very, very big. So tap into those experiences.
For sure. So again, shout out to my brother Teej. I had no idea what TekSystems was until he explained it to me. And I know a guy that we used to rock with in college, Dylan Sykes, was the one that exposed it to us. But TekSystems was a IT staffing and recruiting company. And so my role was a job recruiter. And what I basically did was I worked in a certain division within TekSystems. At first, I supported digital and creative. And so as a job recruiter, I would work on what they call requisitions or job openings for clients that we supported. And we were working in the Greensboro market. We had a number of different clients that we supported. And within job recruiting, my job was to build relationships with consultants or candidates that were looking for jobs, even people that were currently employed. Create relationships with them and build a specific trust with them to where I could network with them. Maybe they weren't looking for a specific job, but I could network and know who they know and get referrals from them to help fill the jobs that I was looking to fill. And so as a job recruiter, I'm basically, just building relationships with people and trying to help them find jobs or network with them to see who they know and find the right job. Or the right person for the job of the client that we're trying to fill.
Yep. And essentially, man, it's a grind. Like, the thing about corporate America, I would say, is that, like, I don't think in order to be quote unquote successful, or I guess maximize the monetary values in that, there's no work-life balance. I'll go on and say I was the type that, once I got converted to salary, and there was a threshold where you got commission and whatnot. But once I was comfortable, I really wasn't that much, because they look for money motivated individuals, and they tend to attract or try to attract kids fresh out of college, looking to make a lot of bread, because you can make a lot of money there. Like I saw some life-changing money at an early age that I'm ashamed to say that I ain't saved shit. Like it was just so much money coming in that young nigga like me was just blowing it. But saying all that to say, like, it like you said, Jay, it taught so much from an interpersonal standpoint, how to code switch, still staying true to yourself, not really conforming. Like like you alluded to earlier, like I could still do this my way. I may have to do certain things here and there, but I can still do this my way. I don't got to change who I am. And I mean, it made it a whole lot easier once you and John started working there, bro. It made it a whole lot easier for me. The Greensboro office was very cool though, but like I said, man, it was just a great experience that taught me a lot. I just knew that like I'm not gonna be here long, which I know you I'm not gonna be here long. I'm gonna utilize the skill set as much as I can, make as much money as I can, and I gotta bounce. Like it just wasn't the end all be all for either one of us. And I think that we can both say we learned a lot from TekSystems. So
For sure. Great relationships, man. What I will say about Tech is I met some of like people I'm really close to today. Like it brought together a lot of like really good people that I still like am in communication with today, still hang out with today. So shout out to all the people, account managers and recruiters that I work with at TekSystems, because I definitely did learn a lot, taught you a lot, but it's some great people that, work in that field.
Bro, do you remember playing high car, low car with? Hold on, real quick. Whoa, that's a great question, Miles. Hold on, real quick. That's a great question. Hey, Jay, do you remember playing? Because I was talking about the money we was making. Do you remember playing high card, low card with Danny? And
shout out to Danny Jarvis, man, my boy Danny Jarvis.
In the like, so high card, low card, you got a deck, you mix them up, you flip. Whoever got the highest card win the bread, and like we playing like
talk about sweating, bro.
$20 hands. Some cases, me and Dan with $50 hands. Like it's just too much. Like just stupid, bro. Just really stupid, man.
Hey,
but,
y'all was balling. Y'all was balling. Y'all had bread for real.
The crazy thing about it, this is during the workday. So we're walking away from our desk, going into a separate room to play high card, low card, and you already knew who won and lost. The nigga that lost is walking out back to his desk pissed.
Yeah, bro. Like, not talking to you. Don't talk to me, bro. Like, I'm locked in on these phone calls. Don't even talk to me, bro. Yeah. Like, I've never smoked a cig in my life, but I went to take a smoke break. I went to take a smoke break. Never smoked a cig in my life. I just went for a walk, bro. Because, yeah, bro. But Miles, but you asked a great question. You said, will we ever go back? Now, when you say go back, you mean go back to TekSystems or go back to corporate America?
Well, let me preface the question by saying, obviously, you guys were making life-changing money, really good money. I definitely shout out to y'all for that. With that being said, would you guys ever go back to? Matter of fact, yeah, let's just say specify corporate America. Let's specify it like that.
I'll let Jay go first.
Okay. To be honest, yeah, bro, I would. I've had some time away from corporate America, and I've enjoyed. I've been working with an electrician and learning like a trade, so I think that's pretty cool. And I highly advise, especially our younger generation, like if you have the opportunity to learn a skill or a trade, whether it be plumbing, being an electrician, being a carpenter, being just a general contractor or a builder, I'd recommend it. Just for the opportunity and the freedom that you have to do things on your own and just to have those skills so that you'll always be, reliable and depended on in terms of work. But corporate America and working in that environment, if you're able to handle it, and like T said, if you're able to be in a place that has a good work-life balance, you can make some great money, man. Like the house that I'm sitting in right now, like my house, I'm able to call it my own. I was afforded this house because of the money that I was making at Wells Fargo. And so from the corporate America standpoint of view, it's pros and cons to everything. I would just say you got to outweigh the pros and cons. And if the pros are to where it makes sense for you and your situation and you can deal with corporate America and what that brings, then I would go back. So to answer your question, yeah.
And to piggyback off what Jay's saying, like, if it was up to me, no. But if I had to, like if things weren't panning out, I needed a job or whatnot, I have no hesitations in doing what I got to do to take care of my family. But again, if it were up to me, having found the passion that I have with coaching, I really don't see myself doing really much of anything else for that matter. So this is no knock to corporate America. But again, say if coaching didn't pan out or I needed to, make more money, then I'm going to do what I got to do and go do that because the money is what sucks people in, pause. But it's just like I'm not I was never money motivated, which is why, like, again, a company like TekSystems was just looking for again, the amount of money you can make there is it's unlimited in a sense. It's really just depends on what you want to put in. Where I feel like, you know, a Wells Fargo or a Bank of America, that's a different type of corporate America with a little bit more structure in a sense, and like there's not a roller coaster of your income. You know, I'm pretty sure they have bonuses in the company and whatnot, but it's probably like, you know, you got your salary, and then you probably get raises, you know, on top of that. Whereas like say with tech, you had your base, but you know, what you made weekly changed week over week, depending on your payroll, on those consultants that you put in. I really didn't like that too much. But to answer your question, Miles, if I had to, yeah, but if it was up to me, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't go back to corporate.
True that.
Yeah, man. But so, of course, everybody, I know this is the No Pressure Podcast. A couple episodes ago, Miles and I talked about our pressure or no pressure situations. And, you know, we want to, we got the inspiration from Jay. So shout out to him for that. So I think it's only right that we ask our first guest, our brother, you know, about a pressure moment in which he endured and how he overcame that. So, Jay, once again, man, the floor is yours, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate y'all adding in the segment, man. Just gotta tie it back into the pod, man, to keep the listeners, you know, engaged. But to be honest, I don't even necessarily have. I've been trying to think of a pressure moment. I really have like a pressure year that consisted of like multiple moments that I'll speak to. So 2023 was a hell of a year for me, and obviously y'all know. But for the viewers, like I had a lot of life changing and altering things happen for me in 2023 that changed just my outlook and my perspective on life. So definitely started out good. I'll say that the biggest thing was being able to get my house. So again, I'm in a house, something that I own. Shout out to all the homeowners because it is not easy to maintain a house, but just the excitement of being able to claim something that's yours and your parents being proud of you for, you know, being able to have something that's yours and you can invite them over to your house. Like just saying my house is something that was like a really big thing for me. And y'all know how I got to the point of like getting my own crib. So, having that happen, May 8th, 2023 was the day I closed on my house, man. One of the best days of my life to be able to have this accomplishment. 5 days later, on May 13th, playing basketball with one of my boys, shout out Josh Paz, I tore my Achilles. And that shook my world up, man. Like I've been playing sports my entire life, football, basketball, baseball. And never had a serious injury. The biggest injury I had while playing sports when I was active was spraining the ankle. And then my 11th grade year, I had like a hairline fracture on my nose. So it's like slightly crooked, but I never broke a bone, never had any like major tear, muscle tear, anything like that. So I was blessed and fortunate to not have experienced that. But I tore my Achilles playing basketball on May 13th. And that was a real hard time for me. Just because, again, that was my first experience of going through such a significant injury and trying to decide whether or not to have surgery or not have surgery. I was scared to have surgery. Like, that was really when I first tore it. That's what I was thinking. Like, damn, am I going to have surgery? I'm going to have to go under. I'm going to have to, like, get cut open, the possibility of infection. And then not to mention, I just bought a brand new house 5 days before that. So moving into a brand new house where I'm unable to walk. So right after I tore it, you know, went to urgent care, went to the hospital, got like the confirmation that I tore my Achilles, went to a foot specialist, and I got put into a hard cast and had to use a knee scooter to get around. Mind you, this is my driving foot. So for those that don't know, like I was in the house the entire summer. 2023 summer was a wrap. Like I was in this brand new house with nothing in my house, and it's split level. So if you know what a split level house is, it's stairs going up and down as soon as you walk in. There's stairs going up to my bedroom. So when I first moved in, like, this is me in the house by myself. I'm rolling around on a knee scooter and having to hop down the 3 steps that lead up to my bedroom to go to the kitchen. And I'm literally just wheeling around like a house that has a bunch of stairs in it. I spent
So
a lot of time.
how are you mentally at this point?
To be completely honest, I was mentally defeated in a lot of different ways. I like to be self-sufficient. I really don't like to ask people for help. I don't like to ask for others to do things for me. I like to do things for other people. Like, I definitely feel a sense of completion in knowing that I'm able to help. Like, I feel like I'm here to serve. And so I like to be of that servant mentality when it comes to my loved ones and people that I'm around. And so being helpless in a sense was definitely hard on me mentally. And I'm someone that I felt was like very strong mentally before this situation happened. And so, man, shout out to my support system. First and foremost, let me start there, man. Like, my support system that I had, my brothers that you see here, like the phone calls, both of you guys are, at the time, Miles wasn't here. So both of you guys were away. But the phone calls, the FaceTimes, just to check on me and ask me about my mental was super important for me during that time, because I was processing these things as they were going on. So a lot of the times I really didn't know how I felt other than feeling helpless. Shout out to my pops. My pops was at my house 3-4 times a week, like just bringing groceries over. Him and my mom would buy groceries. He was bringing stuff over. He would sit in the living room and just talk to me, like knowing that I was there by myself. Me and TJ's roommate, Justin Wilson, ended up moving into the crib with me a couple months later, but shout out to him too, because that's just somebody that was there for me to check on me and make sure that I was good. Shout out to my boy, Justin Yu. Like, it was just a bunch of people that were there for me and reaching out to me to make sure I was good, checking in on me, and consistently being there for me. Forgive me for everyone that I did not mention. It's a lot of people that like were in my corner. My boy Cam. It's a lot of people that definitely had my back and were supporting me during that time. But mentally, it was tough. I got into a walking boot and I was able to move around a little bit more. I was able to do a little bit more around the house, but it was still tough. I spent a lot of days by myself in the house going through that injury and not knowing how I would be on the other side of it. Like, again, we play basketball. We do a lot of things from a physical standpoint to where I was nervous about what that would look like after my injury. And so it took 3 months to get out of the walking boot and the hard cast to where I was able to walk again. So like August came and I'm like, I'm tired of being in the crib. I'm tired of looking at these same walls. Like, I want to drive. So I just started driving for no reason. Like, I'm just driving just because I'm able to do it again. But then I started physical therapy. And so that's a whole nother like wave of mental exhaustion that I had to go through just to like be able to get back to my normal, what I felt like was my normal self. So mentally it was tough, man. And I didn't really learn a lot of what I went through mentally until the end of it. But yeah, definitely
talk about what all went into physical therapy.
Yeah, so I had to do physical therapy 2 times a week. Shout out to Ortho Carolina. But it was a lot of relearning how to walk and hold my balance to start out. That the Achilles heel or the Achilles tendon is attached to your heel and your calf muscle. So when I got out of that hard cast and that walking boot, my leg was straight, like no calf muscle, no definition. I had to regain the strength back to learn how to like walk properly. I did walk with a limp when I first got out of the walking boot and was able to walk on my own. And so it was a lot going through physical therapy, but then I would do small exercises like ladders. If you're an athlete and you ever had to do ladders and like hopscotch, basically, do those kind of drills. and doing leg presses with just my foot. So like not using my entire foot flat on the surface, but like putting my tiptoe on it and just like flexing my heel. Like it was a lot of painful things that I had to do during physical therapy, but I really went into physical therapy with the mind of like an athlete. Like when I was an athlete, how I would push myself mentally to get through things. And at East Met, we used to run, man. Like that's all we did was run. And there was a lot of days that were mentally hard and exhausting because of the running that we did. But I think that is where I really learned how to block out mental pain and or physical pain mentally. I was able to block it out. And so I just tapped back into that when it came to physical therapy, knowing that I work good when I have an end goal, when I can see progression and I can see me working towards something, then, I'm motivated to do that.
Well, glad to know and share that since then you have fully recovered from that Achilles injury, man. And I know, because I mean, we all the same, man. Like we active, so I can only imagine, man, not being able to do something, bro. So, especially let alone drive, bro. So, shout out to you for overcoming that injury and being mentally tough to get through that, man. Because I know it's not easy for someone like you, bro. So yeah, man. But you said it was a pressure year, man. So you touched on your Achilles injury, man. What else did you get into that year?
Yeah, man. So that's just the start, and again, I walked through that process of the walking boot and the cast leading up to August. So August, I'm feeling a little bit more free. Like, all right, I'm able to walk again. I'm able to like start making moves again, like try to get back to myself, knowing that I would have to start physical therapy in August. And so I would say no later than a week or two um, after I'm back on my feet and able to walk again, my parents hit me up and like, hey, can we come over to the crib? I'm like, of course, like, pull up. And so when they got to my house, they were like, hey, FaceTime your sister. And so my sister, my older sister, shout out Ashley, she lives in Alexandria, Virginia. And the way that my parents said, like, FaceTime your sister wasn't like one of the happy occasions. Like if you know me and my family, like we're super grateful. We're very optimistic. Like we like to laugh and enjoy each other, have fun. We're very light when it comes to like life and circumstances. But my parents were both like very stern when they came over. And so I'm like, something gotta be wrong. So I FaceTime my sister. They sit us down. It ain't never good when your parents have to sit you down for something. But my mom, she starts talking and she was like, your dad had a routine doctor's visit, and there was some things that the doctor found, and your dad was diagnosed with stage 1 colon cancer. And so this is again 2 weeks after I'm just now starting to get back into like the groove of like, all right, I got over this injury or this circumstance that happened to me, and then to find out that my dad has cancer, automatically you think my parent about to die. Like we hadn't faced anything within our like immediate family, between my parents and my sister, anything that significant. And so hearing that, I break down. My sister is 6 hours away. She's boohooing on FaceTime. So just to hear that news and then to look my dad in the face, and my dad was like, he was emotional, but he was chilling, man. Like, I think part of what helped me even internalize that was seeing my dad like be calm. And my mom was calm as well.
Damn.
Like they heard the news about a week before us, but they allowed me and my sister to get our emotions out. So to hear that was
Jay,
like
real quick, I'm
devastating
so
for
sorry to
me.
cut you off. By chance, did your parents?
No, you good.
How long do you know how long they waited to tell you all like after his routine? Because I'm sure it's almost natural. Like they probably had their moment, and I'm just putting myself
Yeah,
in what my parents had. Like if I ever had to, God
yeah.
forbid, I ever had to share something like that with my boys, like it won't be immediate. It has to be like where I'm able to be strong for them, so they can. So by chance, did they ever disclose like how long they knew that information before sharing that with you and Ashley?
Yeah, because that was my first question. To see that their response was like they were calm, I'm like, how long have y'all known this? because I'm expecting them to be crying and breaking down just like me and my
Of
sister
course.
hearing this news for the first time. So they had known about a week prior. And exactly to your point, Teej, they had their time to discuss it, cry about it, figure it out, and decide how they were going to tell me and my sister and how we're going to move forward. So that conversation also consisted of the options for my dad. Like he could either do chemo and radiation or he could have surgery. And so immediately me and my sister like do the surgery, like cut it out, get it out. You ain't got to live with it. So like cut it out. But at the end of the day, it's my dad's decision. It's his body. And my mom was on board with me and my sister as well, but he wanted some time to think about it because he's the one that has to go through that process. And at the end of the day, we're going to respect whatever my father says he wants to do. So he took some time to think about it and ended up doing the surgery, which the doctor recommended. Like that's the best solution to try to get him, to the point of being cancer free. And we're just eternally grateful that they found it at stage 1. They found it at a very early stage where it was controlled. It was something that, they were ahead of, and it was low risk for him in terms of when they found it. And so fast forward to October, surgery date is set. Me and my family are super nervous. I remember like taking off that day and me and my mom going to the hospital and being there with my dad and him going through the surgery. And that, like, he was supposed to be in surgery, I want to say a couple hours. They said maybe like 2.5 to 3 hours, I think was the estimated time. The doctor comes back out like 52 minutes later, bro. Me and my mom looking at each other like, fuck.
Yeah. Like,
you coming out that quick?
Yeah.
Like,
what the hell going on?
It can't be good news.
Yeah.
And so, that fatal doctor walk out where you don't know what he's about to say to you. But he looks at me and my mom and he starts smiling. He's like, surgery's done. Like, your dad did great. He was in very good shape in terms of like, it was a clean cut. We were able to go in, get it out, sew him back up. So just shout out to my dad for his body and the way he was taking care of himself to be in a position to have a successful surgery. But he was good and, he was able to go through the surgery and still had a recovery process after that. But I'm glad to say that, like, to this day, my dad's cancer free. He's back on his feet. He's moving around. If you know my dad, like, he will laugh and joke and talk to anybody. So he's back to being himself, which is phenomenal news. But the last moment that I want to touch on for 2023 was the same week that my dad had his surgery, the exact same week. I was given the news that I was being let go or laid off from Wells Fargo. So to talk about pressure of tearing my Achilles in May, finally getting back to myself in August and then hearing the news about my dad. Then my dad had surgery in October, and I found out that same week that I'm being let go of the job that allows me to pay my mortgage, save money, like just how I operate my livelihood. I lost that. So that was my 2023 in a nutshell of like things that were just continuing. I used to say happened to me, but honestly, after experiencing all of that, everything that happened in that sequence and during that time of that year happened for me to be an even stronger version of myself today and the person that I am today. So, the No Pressure podcast, I feel like it's perfect for me to share that story. Cause we all going through something, man. Like, y'all my brothers, so y'all know that. A lot of people don't know that I went through that in my 2023. Like, they see me smile, they see me joke, they know me for who I am, to the world. And it's not that I'm like faking that. That is genuinely who I am. But everybody goes through like hard shit in their lives to where they're affected, and you never know how people are affected or what they go through. So definitely pressure moments and situations. But one thing I wanted to bring up was Paulo Banchero. Shout out to Duke. he has a tattoo that says "No Pressure" on his forearm, and it's like KNOW, but the NO is bolded, and it's like kind of a play on words for like there is no pressure in life when you know what pressure is.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, like to have gone through that experience, to know what pressure is and to have gone through those things myself, like there really is no pressure. It's all about your perspective, and it's all about how you decide to deal with the things that happen for you in life.
No, that's big, man. That's huge. I do want to ask you a quick question, just in terms of just that overall year for you. If you could just kind of talk about just keeping the faith, and obviously, I feel like a lot of times when we had our conversations on the phone, you would talk about how you've been praying more, and how you feel like you've drawn closer to the Lord and stuff. I just want to ask you just about the faith that you had despite all the turmoil.
Yeah, man. Great question, Booby. So again, you very well know what I was going through during that time and how much I was relying on my faith because of what I was going through. And before all of this happened to me, like definitely a firm believer in God, and knowing that, knowing where I stood in my faith. But being in those times, like no matter how much you have friends and family and loved ones that are there to support you, and going through what I went through, I spent a lot of time by myself in this house, to where I didn't have anyone to talk to. I had a dog with me at the time, so I spent a lot of time talking to the dog and talking to the walls. But more importantly, to Miles' point, I spent a lot of time praying and, for one, thanking God just for the opportunity of life, because regardless of what I was experiencing, I had the opportunity to wake up every single day. And that's something that a lot of us take for granted just on a normal basis.
Yeah.
So I found myself just like literally waking up, thank you, God, for the opportunity to breathe, for the opportunity to acknowledge you and to have a relationship with you. And I bought a children's Bible, which may sound funny, but I bought a children's Bible that basically like it breaks down in layman's terms the stories of the Bible from Old Testament to New Testament. And shout out to my realtor. She gave me a journal that was like a blank journal, but it had a cross on it. And I didn't really know what I was going to use it for when I first got the house. But when this happened to me, I was like, I'm going to use that journal with the cross on it to take notes about like the things that, the book outlines, like the important stories within the Bible that the book outlines. And I think one of the things that helped me out the most, on top of praying and just trying to build my own relationship or my own bond with God, was reading the story of Job. So for anyone that's familiar with like the Bible and the story of Job, Job was somebody that was highly favored by God, someone that lived a really good life, had everything that he wanted, and was very obedient to God. And the devil decided that he wanted to tempt Job, and so he went to God, basically saying that the only reason that Job is so obedient to you is because he has everything.
You give.
And the fact that you're able to have this level of a follower and believer because you give him everything.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were to take everything away, I guarantee you he would fold and he would crumble. And so, going through that, like you see God saying basically like, you can take everything away from Job. You just can't physically harm him. Like he did set boundaries to what the devil was able to do in terms of what he did with Job, but he let it be known like you can take these things away and let's see how he responds. And it's very transparent that in the Bible, Job struggled and asking and questioning God why these things were happening to him. For him to be so obedient and do everything the right way, like why did he feel like he was being picked on by God? And as he had friends and support system around him to challenge his thinking in that way, he eventually came through to rebuke the devil and say, like, I know that God is still with me. I know that these things are not happening to me, but there's a greater thing. There's something greater out of this experience that's happening for me. And because he was able to be resilient and withstand everything, God gave him an abundance of more life and more things once he was able to make it through like the hardship. And so just in me relating to my experience, my Job experience, I had a really good life that I really did not complain about before 2023 happened. And so in going through that, regardless of everything I went through and getting closer to God, I feel like that was my time to really tap in and understand more about the Bible. And when you tap into the Bible, you really understand that people have gone through things that all of us experience. And that's what the Bible is about. Like, we're not the first people to experience loss at a certain, rate, or experience hardships at a certain, like, at a certain level. And so in tapping in with the Bible and praying, to Miles's point, I was just able to tap in my reliance to God and not be relying on other people. It's good to have community. It's good to rely on your family and loved ones. But ultimately, you have to rely on God to know that there's a deeper meaning, there's a deeper understanding. And if you can tap into that and try to understand that, even if you don't fully understand that, there's a blessing on the other end of that. And I do truly feel like since 2023, I've experienced a multitude of blessings just by being obedient and having faith that God has my back. I got a tattoo on my leg that says "Walk by Faith." So if I got it permanent on me, I can't run from it and act like I don't have the faith, in the man above. So shout out to him, man, for continuing to bless me and cover me.
No, definitely, man. Shout out to him. Shout out to you. Like you alluded to earlier, man. Like, we was on the phone a lot during that time. And I can honestly say, like, you never complained, and I don't consider venting complaining. Of course you had your moments where you express yourself, but it was never like complaining. It was just like, I'm just going through some bullshit right now, but I'm built for it. I'm gonna get through it. Which, as a brother, that helped me out mentally as well. Even though I was the last person to be thinking about, selfishly thinking, like, it just helped me be stronger for you, knowing that mentally you were good, man. Because, like you said, bro, we all went through our hardships. We've all had experiences in our separate relationships as it relates to cancer, and the effects of that. So, when you told us the news about your father, man, it hit home for us, because that's essentially like an extension of us, as well, man. So him overcoming that, but like I said, you just being able to get through that shit, bro. Like, a lot of people would have folded, bro. So like you said, the book of Job is a great analogy to that. You didn't fold whatsoever. I feel like, you're stronger mentally, physically, all that than you've ever been. Stronger spiritually, in your faith with God, no cap, but like, our conversation, man, I definitely take heed to, the stuff that you're doing, man, your involvement in your church, going to church, doing your Bible study. And I'm not shy to say, like, I have a strong faith in God. I'm a God-fearing man. I pray to God, but there are things that I feel like I need to do personally to strengthen my relationship with God even more, not only for myself, but for my family. But you are, a part of that inspiration that puts that seed into my head. Like, I got to do better with my relationship with God. And because I am grateful, we are grateful, and take a lot of things for granted that he blesses us with, man. So I say all that to say, man, shout out to you, man, for getting through all that shit, man, because a lot of people would have folded, man. So you definitely real when you stay 10 toes, you still firm, and look at you now, man, better than ever.
Facts.
Oh, and the good news,
love,
and Mr. Hunt, he good, right? He good. He's clear.
That is good, man. Cancer free, that man living his life. Like, you would never know that he went through that, man. So shout out to my pops for real, for being as strong as he was. And then if you know my family, like, for real, shout out to my mom, man. My mom is the foundation and the rock of my family. So shout out to both of my parents for being as strong and resilient as they were during that time. But yeah, pops cancer free. He's good, man. He ain't changed, man. He the same old nigga, man. For real.
Shout out to the Hunts, man. Shout out to the Hunts, Miss Lisa,
sure.
Mr. Jeff. Shout out to them for sure.
Very, very welcoming and very, very loving, man. Before we close out with our March Madness, it's Jay's a host. Like he's a host. So like he even growing up, like we would go to Jay crib and hang out all day, whatever, like playing tunk, all that stuff. One of our homies, Jig, we call him Jig. We know a lot of Justins, y'all. So every Justin got a nickname. So this is Jig. Jig tell this story to this day, man. Jig was over there hungry and wanted a Pop-Tart.
He wanted a Pop-Tart.
He wanted a Pop-Tart, but no, like Jay was just like, bro, no, bro, y'all don't come over here to eat, bro. Y'all come over here to hang out. Like it's not my job to feed y'all. But when I tell y'all, Jay's house was loaded with the snacks, bro. Like, it was always loaded with the snacks. Long story short, we playing cards. Miss Lisa come in, hey y'all, how y'all doing, whatnot, and Jig pretty much found a way to finesse. He was like, yo, Miss Lisa, can I get a Pop-Tart? She was like, yeah, go ahead, get your Pop-Tart. Man, Jay was so pissed. He's like, Mom, we do not need to be feeding them. Yes. We do not need to be feeding them, bro. Then they get on my case, Miles, because this back when I had hurt my Honda, it was a 91 Honda Civic, bro. First car I ever had. I used to scoop them up to go play tunk and then have to take them boys back home, bro. They used to get on me about asking them for, and mind you, I didn't ask every time, but once it became repetitive over the summer, bro, y'all gonna have to give me some gas money. Him and Ray Quell, bro, y'all gonna have to give me some gas money, bro. Motherfuckers was I used to be like, just tell me like a little, it was small, take that like a little 5, little 10, y'all split that. But come on, Teej, come on, bro, man. We just trying to link up, play cards. But man, them was the days, bro. Them was the days, dog.
God, bro.
But yeah, man. As we, yeah, bro. Like
crazy.
Having but never showing, man. Shout out to Streets. But yeah, bro. Real talk. That's a great quote though. Always having, never showing. Practice that to this day. Ask the kids at the school. I don't carry cash. Now, as we segue to March Madness, Miles, I think we only got one game wrong, which was the Arkansas game. They blew it in the Sweet 16, but the Elite Eight was pretty straightforward for the first time. For the second time in the history of the NCAA tournament, all 4 number 1 seeds made it to the Final Four. We got Florida versus God, I was just watching the game, y'all. I just had to break. Florida versus who?
They play Auburn.
Florida versus Auburn. And then Duke versus Houston. So let's start off with the Florida versus Auburn matchup, fellas. Who y'all liking? How y'all think that's gonna go?
Man, I'll be the first to tell you. I like both teams. First off, I feel like the committee did a really good job of just giving everybody the number 1 seeds. They all deserve to be there. Everybody got number 1. They deserve their number 1. These are like clearly the 4 best teams in the nation. So committee did a good job with that. Just in terms of Auburn and Florida, I feel like Auburn banged up, man. I seen Janai Broome, he messed up his leg, messed up his arm.
Yeah.
Went back to the locker room, came back. So, I definitely salute, bro. But came back and played well once he came back off his injury. But I feel like he's banged up. I feel like you got to be full strength to beat a team like Florida. Florida's really good. I love Pettiford. Pettiford, he a dog. He definitely got an electrifying game, but I do feel like Florida, they just got a whip, man, from top to bottom. They got bigs, they got versatile bigs, they got guard play. They play extremely hard. They're gonna crash the old boards. They're just a complete team. So a banged up Janai Broome going against a healthy Florida. I think I'm gonna probably take Florida.
Yeah.
What about you, Jay Curry?
To piggyback off that, yeah, to be honest, I think the exact same thing, man. Watching that Auburn game today, to be honest, I wasn't really impressed with Auburn or Florida in their Elite Eight matchups. I feel like both of them could have been had. Auburn, maybe not so much because Michigan State just did not play well throughout most of the game. But to Miles' point, Janai Broome, like watching that injury, bro, I thought bro was done. Like, he dislocated his elbow, he fell. And then on top of that, he hyperextended his knee, in the same place. So I didn't think he should have came back in. Auburn was still pretty much in control of the game, but he came back in, he fought, he a dog. But that would give me some hesitation going into that Florida game where I feel like Florida is still healthy. They just didn't have the best game against Texas Tech, and they had to come back and win that game. But they show resilience, and they do have some dogs on that team. They have great size, pause, in their front court, and then that they big dog. So why he was a big dog to close that game out. So I think I would go with Florida in that matchup as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with y'all boys. Y'all hit it. Y'all hit the nail on the head with everything. And Jay, I agree with you. I really wasn't too impressed with either team's performance, but I know they met early in the year. I think Florida picked up the road victory. They played in Auburn, and Florida won that game. So of course now the team will have a home court advantage. It's a conference matchup, so I do expect it to be a good game. I think Florida got too much for Auburn. Like Miles alluded to earlier, they are banged up. I think Florida's healthy. They rolling, and they find a way to win, man. Like, it's like no lead is safe with them. They found a way to close their last two games. So I think it's gonna come down to honestly whoever's hitting the three ball. I think whoever's hitting the three ball in that matchup is gonna be the one that goes to the championship game. But if I had to pick right now, I'm gonna go with Florida. And then the second matchup for the Final Four is Houston versus Duke. I'm gonna be the first. Listen, y'all. I'm gonna be again. I've been telling Miles, y'all been killing me with y'all humility. Like off the camera, y'all been very like humble. Like, man, I'm nervous. All that. I'm like, man, y'all shut the hell up. What the hell y'all nervous about, bro? Like, bro, this Duke team is perfectly assembled. They got size, they got athleticism, shot blocking, shooting. Cooper flag. Shit, Cooper want to take a game off. You got Con take a game off. You got Tyrese. Shit, you never know when Slimmer microwave off the bench. But like I said, what I love the most about this Duke team, which we talked about this in the early episode, Miles, is just like being defensive minded. Bro, y'all had Mark Sears in Alabama and clamps. I don't see any. The reason I have y'all as the winners of this game, and honestly, I don't want y'all to win the national championship. But again, if they win the national championship, it's gonna be off the strength of if y'all offense not clicking, man, y'all can get it rolling with defense, and that's been apparent. Like to hold Bama to what was it, 50, 60 something points after they just scored 100 something. Mark Sears just had 10 threes. Y'all like I put in our group chat like it looked like he played like he was 5'5". He looked puny on the court. Like it was nothing he could do, nothing Bama could do. Like it was just it looked unfair. Y'all look unfair. Why are y'all winning by 20 this late? Like y'all shouldn't be winning by 20 this late into the season amongst these teams. Like Houston's in for a lot. They played decently today, but it's not Duke. It ain't Duke, bro. So my prediction for that game is Duke. I think Duke wins by 10 plus points once again.
Shit, yeah. To be honest, bro, I'll say I'm definitely rolling with my boys. To be honest, Houston didn't look great either. Like they played a Tennessee team that had 15 points at halftime, and they just didn't. I feel like we're a much better team than Tennessee. But the thing that I worry about is the physicality. Being able to play like from their backcourt to their front court. Houston's a very physical team. And so as long as we're not intimidated by that, I think we got the right players. To your point, Teej, I do think we got the right players and the right rotations to be able to outscore Houston and to put the pressure on them. Like they're going to have to make shots with us. But as long as we don't get bitched with the physicality. Yeah, and turn the ball over because they was turning Tennessee over like crazy earlier today. Yeah. So as long as we don't turn, I think that we capable of winning the Final Four game. And then I feel good about us, like in the winner takes all in the national championship against Auburn, who we've already beat, and then Florida, who is a really good team. But just at that point, I think we got the best player on the floor, and we got the guys around him that support his game. So I'm gonna take my boys to win it all, man. If they don't win it, don't talk to me.
Hey, same to me. Shit, don't talk to me either. Nah, but I mean, with Houston, though, I'm very interested just from a coaching standpoint, just to see like the stylistic matchup. Obviously, Duke do a lot of switching. They have a lot of switchable pieces on defensive end. I think that's the reason why they're so successful on the defensive end. And then you got Houston. You got a Houston team that's going to blitz ball screens. They're going to double in the post. They're going to constantly apply pressure. They're going to disrupt you as much as they possibly can. Not a team that traditionally switches as much. So just seeing the two styles, I think that's going to be really cool to see. I do feel like we can pull it out. I do feel like Duke will win the game, but I don't think it's going to be easy. I think Kelvin Sampson is a great coach, and he does a really good job of preparing his guys. And to Jay's point, Tennessee had 15 points at halftime. I think a lot of that had to do with just how sound defensively Houston is. So, it's going to be a game where I think coaching is going to be pivotal. I do feel like Shire has done a good job with his group. I feel like he did a really good job of just constructing the whole roster as a whole. And I mean, it's March, man. So it's going to be interesting to see how the two teams match up. And then hopefully Duke wins. I really want to see Florida. I think that's a game that we can run away with respectfully. I think Florida's good, but I think we match up really well with Florida. I think we can beat Auburn too, but if I had to pick one, I would probably pick Florida to be the perfect matchup for us in terms of, just coming away with a victory. We could beat either team, but if I had to pick one, I would want to go against Florida. I think we can handle them easily.
All right, man. So we got it here on wax, fellas. So we're going to have to touch base on this when the time comes. Like I said, Miles, we did pretty good in the Sweet 16. Obviously, we didn't discuss the Elite 8, but we're going to see how I go for the sake of being a bitch because my team out. I hope we wrong. I hope Duke don't win it all. But again, bro, we gonna see how I go, man. But Jay, we want to thank you, man, for your time. We want to thank you for sharing your story. I'm almost certain you inspired someone. I know, like I said, I get inspiration almost every time that we talk, brother. So thank you for our brothership. Wow. Thank you for our brotherhood. Thank you for our friendship. And again, thank you it was an honor. It was an honor to have you on our show, being our first guest. So I can't thank you enough, bro.
Yeah, man. I appreciate y'all boys, man. The brotherhood, shout out to Duke. You know what I'm saying? You always gonna tie back into Duke, no matter how much you want to stray away from a Teej. But you already know how I feel about both of y'all boys, man. I love y'all, man. I'm super proud of y'all and happy for y'all to be doing this. I think from a coaching standpoint, from a fatherhood standpoint, like both of you have a lot to offer. Just in terms of your minds and your insight. So I'm happy to be the first guest. Like it was an honor. Y'all know I was turned when y'all asked me to be the first guest, man. So I appreciate having the opportunity to be able to come on and share my story and tap in with y'all's audience. I look forward to continuing to see y'all grow and develop as podcast hosts. And I look forward to the next time I come on here, man. Like, I'm definitely going to be back.
Yes, sir.
Love, bro. For real.
Love, man. Love y'all boys.
Love you too, my boy. All right, man. That concludes another episode of the No Pressure Podcast.